and welcome back to Knitting with Betty. Thank you all to all of those who have visited my first video and liked it or commented on it. I think I've got one new subscriber, so thanks. I see you and I appreciate you. But if you haven't seen it, then go onto my playlist and you should be able to see it. And it's just an introduction, and I showed you some knits last week. I will go over the knits this week again, just in case you saw the video and couldn't hear anything. But if you do want to see that video, go to that playlist, and if you put the subtitles on, then it should show you what I was saying. But all the companies that I was talking about are in the description box anyway, so you should be able to work out what I was going on about in that video. But anyway, welcome back to the second video, and welcome back to my pink palace. I follow a podcaster called ALWAYS, and she has a yarn dungeon, so I wanted something similar, but pink palace, I don't know, we'll work it out. Anyway, so today I'm going to go through a few things with you. Firstly, I've got my second finished knit for this year. So I started it actually before Christmas, but it's completed this year, so I'm counting it as this year's knits. So I'll go through that with you. I've done a little bit more on my Hayworth sweater, so I'll show you how far I've got. And then one of the reasons that I haven't got much further with that is because I had a sock knitting class. So I sometimes go to sock club, where you knit a different sock every month, and this month was a cable knit sock, and I really wanted to have a go at that. So I had to get to a certain point in the sock because I was learning a new technique. So I was furiously knitting away on that sock rather than doing my Hayworth sweater. So I've got one sock to show you, and then finally, what have I got? Oh yeah, I've got news. I'm doing a test knit for a company that is close to me, so I can talk to you about that. And then at the end, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I've been inspired by one of the podcasts that I listen to called Flannel and Purls, and it's run by a guy called Christopher, who I originally followed on Instagram first, and I really love his style. He has such a beautiful way with words. His Instagram posts are always beautifully photographed, and have like really poetic kind of descriptions under them. And he's sort of branched out into podcasting, so I've been watching his podcast. So he basically invites you all around his table. You can bring whichever craft you want. So he does knitting, but you can do crochet, embroidery, paper crafts, illustration, anything really that you want to do. You bring around his table, and it's just a really nice way to sit round at the end of a long day, or at the quiet moments in the day, and just be really mindful, I suppose, and just enjoy everyone's company, and just do some knitting. And I think everyone should do more knitting in their life, so I thought, why not do that at the end? And I will share with you some of the podcasts I listen to and some of the programmes that I watch whilst I'm knitting. Obviously we'll have a cup of tea. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my second knit that's finished for this year. So it is this jumper. So you've probably seen this jumper before. It's quite a few sort of vintagey knitting people have knitted it. So let me get the pattern. It is knit from excuse me, this vintage pattern. So I actually have the original pattern here that I think I bought on eBay for a couple of pounds. I don't think it actually has a name for the sweater. No, but it's a pattern wool. And as you can see, it is for a 35-inch bust. So I don't think I changed too much on how many I cast on, because usually I do it to my measurements. But the reason I'm not wearing this today is because I'm going to show you where it went spectacularly wrong. So I knitted this in UK alpaca. So I actually think most of it's alpaca yarn. So it's this colour, this colour, this colour is all from the UK alpaca company, which I mentioned last week. And this one, I think I got that one from Crafty Bird. But unbeknownst to me, alpaca yarn apparently stretches a lot. So when you block it, it takes on rather a lot of elasticity, and it had already sort of turned out to be quite a big pattern anyway. I'm not a 35-inch bust, by the way. I'm probably 32 to 33 inches. So I knew it was going to be roomy anyway, but I wanted it to wear over a shirt. Oh, and I should mention that the inspiration for the colourway for this and the long sleeves comes from a TV series that I've been watching called The Jam Busters. They only ever made 2 series of this, and then it got cancelled. And there was like a big petition to try and get it remade again, but it never got recommissioned by any of the networks over here in the UK, which is a shame because it was a really good series and there were so many good knits in it. But one of the characters was wearing a very similar sweater. I think the only difference was this green was slightly more greeny green, I suppose. This is quite sort of tealy bluey kind of colour. Oh, it's much like this one actually. I hadn't noticed that before. But yeah, the character, I swear in it, she has long sleeves. But it might just be because she's got a shirt underneath and she's rolled it up, that it kind of makes it look like it was long sleeves. Anyway, I wanted a long sleeve sweater. It's the original pattern. It is short sleeved, but I wanted it because it's cold in the UK in the winter, so I wanted a nice warm snuggly jumper. So that's why I decided to knit the long sleeves and choose this colourway, but it went spectacularly wrong. So in the pattern, which I'll keep chucking on the floor, you do the swatch over the sort of lacy pattern, and that's all fine, but at the top it's seed stitch, and I didn't know this, but when you do a gauge swatch, you're meant to do like all the stitches that are going to be used. I only did it over the patterned area. So yes, I got gauge, but A, it was going to be slightly bigger anyway because I'm not a 35-inch bust, sorry. And B, the top bit came out absolutely massive. So I had to do a bit of jiggery pokery with the sleeves. But if you can see on the inside, you can see where I've actually sewn the sleeves. And you can see that there's like a 2-inch, good to 2-inch section of just extra fabric where I've had to basically, I stood and I pinned it whilst I was wearing it, because otherwise the sleeves were literally hanging off my shoulders down here. So I had like little puffs here, which was not very flattering really. But yeah, it's the same on both sides, so there's a good couple of inches that I've had to sort of make work by pinning, and then I just left it. I didn't want to cut it. I feel like sacrilege really, isn't it, cutting your knitting work, but I wasn't sure if it's going to all unravel, so I've just left it. But what I'm thinking of doing is sort of folding it over, I don't know if you can see, folding it over and stuffing it with stuffing to make sort of mini puffed shoulder pads that are integral to the jumper. So it might not be that disastrous, but it's there. I've left it anyway, and once I've put it on, you can't really see that there's like extra fabric on the inside. And nobody looks at the inside of your knits anyway, do they? But yeah, so I've managed to bring it back from the brink of disaster. And the other thing, when I locked it, it took on a lot of stretch. And I think when the measurements got to about the 38-inch bust, I was thinking, no, this is not going to work. This is I am not a 38-inch bust, but yeah, it is slightly on the roomy side. But I think with a shirt underneath it, and you know, this is the kind of jumper that you wear kind of doing gardening, or you know, just being cozy and comfy on the sofa. It's not like a smart little sweater like this one to go out and about in, so it's not too disastrous. But this is my second finished knit, and I have to say, all the ends you had to weave in with the striping, it was a lot. But no, I really love it, and I love the sleeve detail, how it's slightly a smaller pattern, and it doesn't quite match up to this, which I think that's quite a nice little detail. But yeah, hopefully I'll take some pictures of this on me and around and about so you can see what it looks like on the person. But yeah, I thought, yeah, you can see the extra is in here. But where this puff shoulder is, if I just stop it there, it should be okay. So that's that little knit. Oh, and actually, if I'm feeling particularly kind, I might digitise this and let you have this for free. I'll figure it out somehow and let you know next episode. But I think you can get this online for free anyway, or there's it's pretty cheap on Etsy if you want the pattern. But that's the pattern if you want to look for it. Again, it doesn't have a name, so good luck finding that one. But yeah, anyway, back to the swatching details. I can't remember if I actually told you, but make sure if you do make this, swatch not only this patterny bit, but the top seed stitch as well, so that you don't end up with a massive jumper like I did and have to make it work by pinning and doing all sorts of jiggery pokery. But anyway, on to my second knit. So this is my sock. So I have a little bit of a checkered history with socks. So I have knitted now one complete pair of socks and 3 that are not yet complete. So my big sort of bugbear with socks is I don't like socks that look homemade, which I know sounds sort of counterintuitive with hand knitting socks. I love the idea of hand knitting socks because I think it's a really useful skill to have, and I see so many sock patterns out there that's so pretty. Is it Stone Knits that has a book? I've got the book of like beautiful colourwork socks, and I love them, and I admire anybody who can sit down and make socks, but I don't know what it is about them. I just get to the stage, and I think it's because the very first pair of socks I ever made, I managed to knit one sock significantly longer than the other. So it's a bit of a disaster. So actually I'll go and get them to show you. Okay, right. So this is the normal sock. This is its partner. So as you can see, it's a lot longer, and I don't quite know how that happened. But I think that was my first ever pair of socks, and I don't love them because I don't like the yarn. I'm not a big variegated yarn fan, and I don't like the way that the heel flap looks. So the beauty with the sock that I did this time is it's an afterthought heel sock, so it looks, I mean this isn't blocked yet, but it looks a little bit more like a machine made sock rather than quite so homemade. I mean at the moment it's not looking great because it's not blocked, but I really wanted a pair of socks with a cuff on them, so I bought a pair of shoes, these beautiful shoes from Memory, about a year ago, and I've never worn them. And the reason is because when I wear trousers, my trousers are really long, so I have to wear a heel with them, otherwise I trip over my trousers. So I have to wear them with a skirt, and with the skirt I just have this picture in my head that I need a pair of socks like this. So I've not worn them because I don't have a pair of socks like this. So I finally got around to knitting a pair of socks. And I have used this gorgeous yarn here from the Fibre Company, and it is Amble Wandering Souls. So it is a conscious blend of washable merino wool, alpaca and recycled nylon. So that's the yarn there, and I've got this from a local yarn shop, the Lace Knittery, in it's either Ilchester or Ilminster. So I went on a knitting trip there with some friends last summer, and this was exactly the yarn that I wanted, in this kind of neutral colour to wear with my flat shoes. So here's the one sock that I've done. Now the sock pattern didn't have a cuff, but I've kind of made it up and made it work. And like I say, this is an afterthought heel. So the difference with this sock being I knitted it from the cuff down, and you do the heel flap and then you pick up the stitches here and then carry on round and then finish off with the toe. Whereas this one I knitted from the toe up and you do an afterthought heel. So it's two new techniques that I learned. So I learnt Judy's Magic Cast On, which is genius. I don't know how anybody thinks of those kind of things, but it's really easy to do and it looks really good. I mean, they look a little pointy at the moment, but these should block out just fine. And then it has this beautiful cable stitching on it. And then you knit to sort of about, I think it's about 5 centimetres from the edge of your foot. And you put in a holding line of yarn. So you knit across on a holding piece of yarn, and then you slip those stitches back on, and then you knit again that row of holding yarn, and then you carry on doing the main part of the sock up here and cast off, and then you go in afterwards and you pick up the stitches that are on that holding yarn, and then you work your heel, doing your decreases or increase, no, decreases. And yeah, I really like it. So maybe if I put it on my foot you can see it a little better. Actually no, this probably is not going to work very well, but let's give it a go. So it doesn't look quite so pointy on a foot. So this is a little bit short, this cuff. I wanted it a little bit deeper, but I get really impatient with sock knitting. I just want it to be over, I think. So I might undo that last cast off row and try and pick it up again and make it a little bit deeper. But yeah, I think they'll look really, really cute with my flat shoes and a little skirt. And that's very Jam Busters, I think. One of the characters in that wears something similar. So that's that. So the third thing I have to show you is how far I've got with my Hayworth sweater. So I finished the, where was I at last? I hadn't split for the underarms, had I, last time? So I've got to the underarms in the round, and then you cast off and split for the front and the back. So I've done the back. And I know I said I was going to do a button placket and buttons for the closing, but I actually changed my mind. I actually read the pattern properly. I think one of the problems was the pattern didn't have a picture of what the back looks like, so I was a little bit apprehensive about how to do it. But I went onto UK Alpaca's Instagram account and looked through their photos, and actually there was a back picture. So I'll show a picture either here or YouTube Magic. So that's what it should look like after I've knitted the collar, which you have some holding stitches there for. So This was a cute little detail at the back here. Let's just get that out of the way. So the last 3 stitches, one side you stitch in the pattern, and then the next side you slip the first 3 stitches and then carry on with the rest. What it does is it kind of pulls this round to the back and makes a lovely neat edge. I don't know, you probably can't see it too well, but I thought that was a neat little trick to make a nice neat edge. And once it's all blocked and finished properly, it'll be a nice little keyhole detail. There we go. Again, I'll make that work. So that's the back, and then I have done one half of the front, so this section here, and I just have to 3 needle bind off the shoulder to join the 2 together, which we can do in our round table. I don't want to steal his idea of the name, but I need to think of a name for it. There we go. So that's how far I got with that. Again, it's not as far as I'd have liked to have got. I would have liked to have completely finished the front and the back and got those joined and started the 2, but because I had a sock to knit, so I didn't get too far with that. But it's looking really nice. I love this pattern. It's really nice from a distance, and again, like I said last time, put a little spring flower embroidery in there, and you're away for the spring, aren't you? Brilliant. So that's that one. And then finally today, I got to tell you about, oh yes, my test knitting. So I live nearish to John Arvin Textiles Mill, and they put out a call on their social media for test knitters for their new, is it an album they call it? Catalogue-y album? Sounds like a Blue Peter. Annual. I don't know. Their new sort of pattern booklet, whatever you want to call it, and they had several different designs that they wanted test knitters for, and so I put my name down for a beret. So I'm going to knit a nice little sort of 1940s beret, and it's just an excuse to buy more yarn, really, isn't it? I could use yarn from my stash, I could, but who does? When they've got some beautiful, beautiful yarns. I've used their yarn before for a shawl I made in the colour Autumnadord, which is a brilliant name, and it's this beautiful, like, I want to say puce green, but it's like a beautiful lime green, but it's got, oh god, how do you say it? Walls? Sheep in it? Wool in it? That's kind of like a darker colour, so it gives it a really sort of almost a muddy, sort of grungy kind of colour to it, but it's this beautiful shocking green, and that's on my to finish pile, so hopefully sometime this year I'll get that done. So I have worked with their yarn before and it's really nice, but I love this range called Harvest Use. I don't know if you can see the colours, but well, get my head out of the way, there we go. So it's in 4 colours, and you need 2 that are slightly lighter and 2 that are slightly darker, so that you get the contrast between the colours. So for my light colour, I'm going to go for Silver Birch, and where's the one that I want? Bracken, which is actually, it's quite a little bit darker, but I just thought it was a beautiful colour. Bracken and Birch, those 2 colours. So Bracken is kind of like a rusty, kind of orangey colour, and Bracken, Silver Birch is silvery grey. And then my favourite is Woad, which is a gorgeous bluey teal. If you can see it, a bluer colour here. And then my 4th colour, I either want to go for Speedwell, which is sort of a heathery kind of purpley colour, or teasel, which is much more of a truer purple. There you go. See the beautiful colours there. So those are the colours I'm going to go for, and I will of course let you see my journey with that as and when it starts. I think it starts on the 15th of March and runs until May, the test knitting. So I'll let you know how that gets going when it gets going. So I'm going to go and actually make a cup of tea now, and then we can come back and do our round table. Right, so I hope you've got a nice cup of tea with you. I've got mine with me. Cheers, everybody. Also got my knitting, which I did have to look up how to do the 3 needle bind off before I do it. So actually the first thing I should say on recommendations for TV shows to watch with great knitting in, I called it Jam Busters earlier, but I think that's the book version that it's called, because it is actually, the TV series is called Home Fire, so that's the first series and that's the second one. That's what you're looking for. It was on ITV in the UK, so it might be on ITVX or one of the streaming services if you don't have a DVD player, because who does anymore these days? So yeah, that's a really great series to watch for vintage knitting. It had the jumper that I knitted and so many more great knits that there's just so many to mention. And I'll probably do a few more knits from that over the years, but yeah, let's do some knitting together. Hello. Hi. You joining us? Yeah. Go on then. Sit there. Sit down. She's looking at my bed, to be honest. She wants the nice. Oh god, now the other one's here. So yeah, this is just the 10-15 minutes where you can do some knitting, you can have a little chat. And Tess will join us. Okay, Tessie? So this is my dachshund Tess. I actually have 4 dogs, and Tess here is 14, she's going to be 15 in September, and she's a little bit blind, a little bit deaf, but she's still going strong. Getting down. Okay, bye. Off you go then. Bye. step I didn't explain what Home Fires was about. So Home Fires is, I think it's based up north somewhere, but it's about a group of women who are in the WI at the outbreak of war, and it's about their efforts to make jam and keep the home fires burning through the war. And like I said, there was 2 series that were made, and yeah, they had some really good actresses and actors in it. They had Samantha Bond, so she was in the Bond films, she was Miss Moneypenny, and it had a guy from Shandor, whose name escapes me, but yeah, it had all sorts of different actors and actresses in it that were absolutely brilliant, and I don't know why it got cancelled because it was really good. To join us, come here Frank, come on. This is Tess's sister Frank, who is my baby, and he's little mummy's boy, so he'll sit still. Tess is a lot more independent, so she won't sit on that. Frankie loves a cuddle, and at the moment he's wondering why I'm not on the sofa cuddling him, so he's waddled in here demanding cuddles. There we go, and I'm done. These in my knitting basket. And that is done. My first shoulder. Put that on the right way around. There we go. So you can see the 3 needle bind off there. Fortunately the patterns didn't match up, but if I had continued with the front a little bit longer so that it would make the pattern match, then I'd have a really long bit here. So I thought on balance it was probably best to have it not matching at the side seam, at the top seam, so nobody's going to see that really, are they, apart from me? But there we go. So that's that done. So hopefully you had a nice relaxing sort of 10-15 minutes of knitting. Sorry about the dogs barking. I will probably put some magical music over the top so you can't hear me screaming at my dogs. That always happens when you try and record something and they start barking. At nothing, by the way, nothing, because they are dachshunds and they bark at nothing. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for joining me on my knitting journey. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, then make sure you like and subscribe. It will be down here somewhere, or over that side if it decides to reverse it. And if you subscribe, then you'll be the first to know when I've done any new videos. So thanks, and hope to see you next time.